Welcome children. Take out your English literature book, Longman Impression, Revised Edition, Part 6, Chapter 17, The Lost Child. Before explaining this chapter, let me tell you that in my previous video, I have already explained that how a little child got attracted on seeing the stalls at the village fair. Now let's begin the chapter. A sweetmeat seller hawked gulab jamuns, rasgulla, barfi, jalebi at the corner of the entrance, and a crowd pressed round his counter at the foot of an architecture of many colored sweets decorated with leaves of silver and gold. Now, sweetmeat seller, what he was doing? He was calling out because he was selling gulab jamuns, rasgullas, barfi, jalebi, and where the seller was? He was at the corner of the entrance, and the boy was pressed through a crowd at the foot of the architect where the seller was selling colorful sweets that was decorated with leaves of silver, leaves and gold. The child stared open-eyed, and his mouth watered for the barfi that was his favorite sweet. Now, child, what he did? He looked with his open-eyed, and his mouth was watering for the barfi, which was his favorite food. I want that barfi, he slowly muttered. Now, what he slowly said? He slowly said that he want that barfi. But he half knew that he begged that his plea would not be heeded because his parents would say he was greedy. But what he knew? He knew that knew that his parents would not listen and would not listen because they would say that he was greedy. So he waited for an answer. So without waiting for an answer, he moved on. A flower seller hogged a garland of gulmohar. The child, irresistibly drawn, he went towards the basket where the flowers lay heaped and half murmured, I want that garland. Now what happened? He passed through a flower seller. The flower seller was calling out, Gulmohar garland. Now the child, he went towards it, and towards the basket. He pointed out that he wanted that garland. But he well knew that his parents would refuse to buy those flowers because they would say that they were cheap. But that child knew that his parents will not purchase those because they would say that they were cheap. So without waiting for an answer, he moved on. So without waiting for any answer, he moved on. A man stood towards a pole with yellow, red, green and purple balloon flying from it. Now man, he was standing with a pole, carrying a pole. It consisted of different colors balloon that was yellow, red, green, purple. The child was simply carried away by the rainbow color glory of the silken colors, and he was filled with overwhelming desire to possess them all. Now, while seeing this balloon, what happened? Rainbow colors, he also wanted to buy all the balloons. But he well knew that his parents will never buy him the balloons because they would say that he was too old to play with such child. But this child, he knew that his parents will never buy those balloons because he had grown old to buy with such toys. So he worked further. Now the child worked further. A snake charmer stood playing a flute to snake, which rolled itself in a basket. Its head raised in a graceful bend like neck of swan, while the music stole into his invisibility ears like the gentle rippling of the invisible water. Now what happened? He went near a snake charmer. The snake charmer, he was playing the flute, and the snake coiled in the basket that was coiled in it raised his hood. It raised it in a graceful way, just like the neck of a swan. And while the music stole in this invisible ear, just gentle rippling of the invisible water. The child went towards the snake charmer. Now the child, where he went? It went towards the snake charmer. But knowing his parents had forbidden him to hear such coarse music. But knowing what happened, his parents had forbidden him to hear such type of music as the snake charmer played and proceeded further. There was a roundabout in a full swung. Men, women and children carried away in a whirling motion. Now what happened? He went to a roundabout, which is a full swing. Men, women and children, they were carrying away in this whirling motion, shrieked and cried with daisy laughter. Now what happened? He shrieked and he started crying with gazy laughter. The child watched them intently and then he made a bold request. Now first he watched those things and then he made a request. I want to go to that roundabout, please father, mother. Now he made a request that he want to go about the roundabout, please father. There was no reply. He turned to look at his parents. Now he didn't get any reply, so he turned back at his parents. They were not there ahead of him. Now he found that his parents were not there. He turned to look on either side. They were not there. Then he looked on the other side, but still his parents was not there. He looked. There was no sign of them. Now he looked all around, but there was no sound of them. And a full deep cry rose with his dry throat, and with a sudden jerk of his body he ran from where he stood crying on real fear. Now what happened? When he looked behind also, there was no sign of the parents. Now what happened? He gave a loud cry. His throat get dried up, and with a sudden jerk from his body, he ran away from there because now he was really afraid. Father, mother, tears rolled down his eyes, hot and freeze, which his flushed face was convulsed with fear. Now what happened? He started running, calling his parents, that is father, mother, and then tears rolled down his eyes, and he was too much afraid because he was very confused. Panic stricken, he said. He ran to one side first and then to the other. Now what happened? He was too panicky. He was too panic stricken, and then he ran from one side to the other, hither and thither, in all directions, knowing not where to go, because he doesn't know where to go. Father, mother, we wailed. Now what happened? He started crying. Father, mother. His yellow turban came, untied, and his clothes came muddy. Now what happened? His yellow turban, it became untied, and his clothes also, it turned muddy. Having run to and fro in a rage, running for a while. Now what happened? After running little bit, he stood defeated. He cries suppressed his sob. Now what happened? After running for a while, he became defeated, and his cries also suppressed in sob. Now take out your diary, write chapter 12. Chapter 17, that is the lost child, page 31 and 32 explain, 131 and 132 explain, homework, revise it. And with this, I am ending my today's class. Goodbye.